Is cinema Dissections suffering from franchise exhaustion? The answer is no. What? I can't think up a funny joke for every intro. There comes a time in the life of every long-running franchise where it begins to suffer from exhaustion. Movies, television, even video games fall prey to this fatigue. By the time you reach season 13 of a TV show, Supernatural, you begin to ask yourself, how long can this go on for? What's the point? Does this have anything new to say or offer anything of value? More often than not, the writers and creators of whatever it is begin running out of ideas or long to create something new. And even more often, they're either bribed into continuing or face turning their creation over to someone else. If they choose to relinquish their control, it can result in more imaginative and outlandish ideas from a new mind. Or it can change too much and thus lose sight of the original point, potentially running the entire franchise into the ground. This leads us to the question of, what is the best possible course of action? Ultimately, the corporate bigwigs looking to milk their cash cow as long as possible will fight to keep their money flowing at any cost. Even a previously popular show that's fallen from grace and lost popularity will still generate more money than a potentially new and risky show that has no guarantee of paying off. This is precisely the reason we're seeing a flood of remakes and reboots of decades-old material. Taking into consideration the current popularity of nostalgia in the media, basically, anyone with the rights to a previously established idea are trying to make a quick buck off its equally pre-established audience.
I know what an Evil Dead is. Let's go watch that.
Whether this is pandering or just good business practice is up to you, the audience, to decide. But it does bring me to my first example, Ash vs. Evil Dead. I'll try to keep this simplified and to the point, because I know not everyone has seen this show. But there are generally two types of fans when it comes to Evil Dead. Those who believe the remake is better than the original, and those who think that Evil Dead can't continue without Bruce Campbell as Ash, the main character. Now, I know that's a very boiled down view of the fans, and of course there are exceptions that fit in neither category. But basically, most of us align to one perspective or the other, and both sides make good arguments. Personally, I tend to fall in the latter category, but my point is, if left up to the fans, the Evil Dead franchise would just carry on forever. And sure, this could be seen as a good thing. But if the series is anything to go by, is it? In my opinion, the series had already downgraded slightly in order to continue. The mighty Ash Williams, wielder of the boomstick, is now a pervy old man, and certainly not the prophesied one spoken of in the Necronomicon. And with Bruce Campbell officially retiring from playing Ash Williams, it seems the only future left for Evil Dead would be to change again, even more drastically, in order to continue without him. But what would the Evil Dead universe even be without him? In my opinion, he's a pivotal point in this world. Continuing without him seems pointless. It's like taking the Doctor out of Doctor Who. It just doesn't make sense. But this wouldn't be the first time a series has had to change drastically in order to continue. Just look at Jurassic Park. When comparing the newer films to the first one, they feel completely different. And not just because all the color's been drained out of it like every other movie coming out. I swear, eventually, everything will just be black and white again. That or a mindless mass of flashing colors. But the point I'm trying to make is, at one point or another, a franchise has to sacrifice its former self in order to continue. Actors get older, retire, or ask for too much money. Writers leave, and new ideas are pursued in order to keep the franchise fresh. This is not necessarily a bad thing, because think of how boring it would be to walk in to see a new Terminator movie just to watch the first one all over again. Oh wait. Just kidding, I love T2. But with every big franchise currently running, you can see how different they are from where they started. For some, it's worked out to moderate success. With others, not so much. In many ways, this adaptation to modern viewing habits has been crucial to their longevity. But how long can any one idea retain its viewing public? We live in an age where we can stream thousands of movies and TV shows into our homes at the mere touch of a button. My only recommendation to combating these changes is not to. Seriously, Hollywood, just listen up. Stop dragging things out. As excited as I am for Saw 9, all stories need to end. When media is kept in this constant state of limbo in order to keep it going, just to squeeze out those extra pennies, the only guarantee is that its quality will begin to deteriorate. If there's anything Doctor Who has taught me, it's this fact. When Russell T Davies brought the show back in 2005, he had a plan for it. He wrote an amazing 4-season-long story, encompassing spin-offs and crossovers and culminating in the best storytelling I've ever seen. But then he ended it. Yes, it was sad, and yes, I cried, but it couldn't go on forever. Maintaining that kind of quality forever just isn't feasible. But the BBC wanted to keep milking their cash cow, so in comes Stephen Moffat, and ever since, the show has continued to degrade with each season. In some ways, I think Russell knew this would happen and destroyed his other show, Torchwood, out of the fear that the same thing would happen all over again. This is one reason that I love miniseries so much. They usually run for only a few episodes, but ultimately they tell one whole story. The writers know how it will end from the very beginning, and they usually have a very limited runtime, so every single moment is crucial. Nothing can be wasted. A prime example of this is, well, Torchwood, Children of Earth, once again written by the brilliant Russell T Davies. My fanboy is showing. But from my experience, miniseries often contain the best storytelling. They remain focused on the story and are, of course, immune to any kind of fatigue. The original It, Over the Garden Wall, and so many other shows are a prime example of the high-quality writing resulting from these short-lived programs. Shows like Doctor Who, which have had over 26 seasons and a number of showrunners and guest writers, often have difficulty keeping up with the rules of their universe and the canonicity of certain comments and alleged events. Ultimately, this shows that the length of a show or movie series can become a big factor in its quality. Star Wars has this issue too, with so many different movies and spin-offs, all of which are written by different people. It's no wonder that they all vary in quality. You can see this same lack of communication between writers in lots of different movie series. The Alien movies, Indiana Jones,
Marvel,
and so many more. In the end, the biggest way to combat franchise exhaustion is simply to give control back to the creator. Filmmaking is an art form, so let the artists paint, for God's sakes. Stop trying to turn everything into a watered-down film series. We need to make movies and television for the joy of storytelling again, not this constant corporate regurgitation that we see on a regular basis. I know this is still a business, but good art always sells. Who am I kidding? People don't watch things with social commentary or any kind of heart or message to it. They'd rather watch The Walking Dead or Game of Thrones at some bar somewhere. I weep for our society. Alright, so thanks for watching. I would like to thank my patrons for their continued support, and here's a shout out to my friend Dalton, who watches my videos and provides much needed feedback. It would be ironic if he didn't watch this one and completely missed this. I've only got a few seconds left. Okay, so subscribe, like, share, all that stuff. Thank you. Bye.